Well, one of tonight's guests knows all about huge audiences because 30 million people watched this episode of EastEnders. And tonight, soap legend Anita Dobson will be here with news of how you can revisit some of the most iconic scenes from Albert Square. Anyway, EastEnders has paused for a mini break, but you'll be pleased to know you can still get your soap fix every Tuesday because the BBC are going to show some classic episodes. So what can you tell me then about EastEnders?
Oh, you're putting us on the spot here, Al, but
Right,
you know, there's been over 50 births, 90 weddings, 100 deaths, 26 murders, and we've had cameos from the likes of Robbie Williams, Rusty Lee, and even Boris Johnson, but that's just off the top of my head. If you want any more, I'll have to do some research.
Well, that's quite impressive, isn't it? Anita? What did you think? That was amazing, wasn't it?
That was amazing. I didn't know that.
Read it all off the auto cue sneakily. Don't you worry about
that. Lovely to see you, Anita. And before we get stuck into EastEnders, we've got to ask, because we know Brian, lovely Brian, hasn't been very well of late. How's he doing? Is he better?
He's doing very well. In
Wonderful.
fact, he's right here.
Oh, let's see him. Let's see him.
Get him in.
He's doing very well. He's turned the corner.
Oh,
yes, yes.
You're both looking very well, as always, aren't you? Now then, before we talk about tonight's classic episode, this is something we're going to be doing every week, actually, and teeing it up on the Tuesday. Let's have a look at the story so far.
EastEnders, the story so far. Den and Angie run the Queen Vic on Albert Square. They live with daughter Sharon and Rolly the dog. Den has been seeing his mistress Jan for some time, but Jan has recently issued Den an ultimatum. Leave Angie or it's over. Meanwhile, Angie knows about the affair and as always hits the bottle. She fears that he's going to leave her and tells Kathy that she loves him and will do anything to keep him. In tonight's episode, Den finally tells Angie that he's leaving her, but Angie has other plans. Doof, 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 doof.
No expense spared there.
Yeah, I can't believe that's you. All these years, I can't believe it was you on EastEnders.
I've made a fortune out of the Duff Duffs.
Unbelievable.
I have.
Unbelievable.
So we mentioned the episode with the divorce papers, which was massive. So tonight we're going to kind of see the preamble, aren't we, to that episode. Yeah. So go on, give us a bit of a reminder then what happens.
Well, it's so long ago I can hardly remember myself. I do remember, though, that old dressing gown came out quite a lot during these episodes. And that no makeup look that every gal loves.
Well, it was a good bit of acting. And don't worry, you don't have to remember because we've got it. Let's have a look.
I'm not sure if you're actually watching. Is this the one where she says she's got 6 months to live?
That's the one.
Yeah, they're busy arguing about it in this clip here.
I remember Leslie said to me before we actually recorded it and we were doing that actual scene, he said, what do you reckon? How many takes? And I went, maybe 2, maybe more if we're lucky. He went, 1. I went, you think? He went, 1. We started the scene, and in the middle of it, he picked up the table and threw it against the wall, and it burst into 1,000 pieces. And he looked at me and went, 1 take.
Wow. Very good. Let's have a look at you in that dressing gown now.
Don't try that one on me, Ange, because it won't wash. No way you ever going to get me back. I'm scared! You stupid, idiotic little man, I'm scared!
Do you know what it's like? Since they told me, I feel like I'm locked inside a cell with the walls closing in on me, the ceiling pressing down, the floor coming up to meet me, and I'm getting smaller and smaller, and it's crushing me, and I'm shrieking and I can't go!
Shut up.
Wow. That is the angriest I've ever seen someone in a dressing gown, and I'm from the northeast. So yeah, that's
wearing the dressing gown that was making me so angry.
Now it was a really important sort of groundbreaking episode in soap operas because it was what they called a two-hander. It was the first time they'd done it. Can you explain that for everyone?
Well, it was Julia's idea. She said because we were doing really well as that soap couple, and she said we've decided to give you a whole episode to yourselves, which was so exciting.
And that's what they called a two-hander, just the two ears.
Yeah,
wow.
Just the two, and very scary.
Yeah.
And I remember going out the night before to a party. And thinking I should go home and check I know my lines, you know.
Sorry, can I just say you're being very nice here and not name dropping, but we all know that was Freddie Mercury's party,
I can tell it was Freddie Mercury's
party. Let's just not leave that out. Come on.
You can stay longer. So I did stay longer. The next morning I got into the studio and Leslie said to me, do you know it? And I said, well, I think I'm on top of it. How about you? And he went, so I said, okay. And then we both sat down and he said, what do you think about the climax? Where do you think it should come? And I said, well, our person. And we thought it should come at a slightly different point in the script to where it actually was. Anyway, we started and we knew each other so well. It was almost symbiotic. So he used to say to me, your mouth shuts, mine opens. My mouth shuts, yours opens. And it was true. You would never know if anything went wrong, if we tried. Always one of us would pick the other one up. And that's what it happened in that two-hander. We did the producer's run and the script writer was standing there with the script, smiling, beaming happily. And I thought, we're doing well. And then she looked at the script and frowned and looked at it again.
Wow.
We could have run with it. But it was a magical time. Once we were on air, once we started, we just lived it, I suppose.
Amazing.
We loved those characters.
Amazing.
But I tell you what, watching that tonight now, it'll be even more interesting from people just having heard that.
I'm going to try and look for the bits where you were just winging it.
The dynamic between you and Leslie, absolutely brilliant.
Thank you so much, Anita. Thank you very much indeed.
Thank you, Anita. Lovely to see you as always.
Thank you.
And that.